Assalamualaikum and greetings to Dr. Riz and to my fellow classmates. In today's presentation, we will be presenting about Phylum Lycophyta, specifically genus quill worts. Before that, I will introduce my group members first. We have Nur Hasya binti Amran, Nur Iffah Alyaa binti Aznan, Munira binti Mohd Nawawi, Nuramiera Farieza binti Ahmad Tarmizi, and I am Najwa Asyiqin binti Hashim. So this morning, we will be discussing about the ancient relatives of clubmoss and quill worts. So for the first ancient relatives that we have here is the lepidodendrons. So this lepidodendron has gone extinct a long time ago, and it is a primitive vascular tree-like plant. So why did we say it is a tree-like plant? It is because it is closer to a giant herb because they lack a rings or even a real woods that a real tree have. Next is even though both club mosses and quill worts related to the lepidodendrons, this ancient relative is actually more related to club mosses, and sometimes people call this lepidodendron as giant club mosses. So we can see that it is actually more related to club mosses. They also reproduce by spores instead of seeds, and is also homosporous. So what is homosporous? Homosporous is when the plants itself they produce only one type of spores. In this plant, the megaspores giving rise to the female gametophyte, and the microspore will give rise to the male gametophyte, and they reproduce by encapsulated spore. Next is they live about 359 million to 299 million years ago, which is a very long time ago, and they grew up to 40 meters in height and 2 meters in diameter, which is very tall plant when compared to the club mosses we have today. And then they also used to live in extensive peat forming swarms, but they become extinct when this swarm disappeared. In this slide, I will talk more about the characteristics of lepidodendrons, and I will zoom in more what lepidodendron have. So firstly, we will look at the cones, which is a bisporangiate cones called flamingates, which bear megasporinates. And the next one is we will see the shape of the leaves of the lepidodendrons. Actually, the lepidodendrons, they have an awl-shaped leaf, just like club mosses did, because club mosses they have a scale-like or awl-like leaf shapes. But unlike quill worts have a grassy spike-like leaf. So you can see why lepidodendron resemble club mosses more. And then so this is the part where I found interesting. So this on my right side is the close-up of the bark patterns of the lepidodendrons. These lepidodendron, they have a pores on their barks, which can absorb carbon dioxide directly, which I found interesting because I haven't found any plants which have this kind of characteristic yet, or maybe have, but I didn't discover it yet. The second ancient relatives that we have here is Sigillaria. Sigillaria has also gone extinct a long time ago, and it is a tree-like plant. Even though Sigillaria related to both club mosses and quill worts, it is actually more closely related to quill worts. Okay, next is they has a thin grass-like leaf. Just like a quill worts have a grassy spike-like leaf. So you can see why Sigillaria resemble more quill worts than club mosses. In addition, they reproduce by spores of two distinct sizes, which is megaspores and microspores, and they also live about 360 to 300 million years ago, and they had a single or sparsely branched trunk, as we can see here in the figure here, and slender strand of wood and thick bark. They also used to live in mineral soils of river floodplains, unlike the lepidodendrons. Lepidodendrons, they live in the swamp pits, right? Okay, so in Sigillaria, they prefer to grow in the floodplains is because for a better drained soils, because this may allow Sigillaria to survive the drying of the great coal swamps that lead to the extinctions of the lepidodendrons. last ancient relative that we have here is proto-lepidodendrons. So this proto-lepidodendron is ancestral to later lysophytes like lepidodendrons and selaginella that I have explained before. And it is also related to the giant scale trees, which is the lepidodendrons. For your information, lepidodendron is also called as giant scale trees because of the characteristic of it. And it is also a homosporous plant. Like I have explained before, it only produces one type of spores. It also grew about 30 meters in height and 1 centimeter in diameter, which is relatively lower than other ancient relatives. And the whole plant body is covered with small leaf which is bifurcated at their apices. And they have aerial dichotomously branches axis covered with ligulates microphytes, as we can see here in the figure. So that's all for the ancient relatives. Thank you.
The second part is human and ecological relevance of club moths. However, we couldn't find any ecological role of club moths because mostly they play their important roles towards human. There are three relevances of the club moss. First, it was important in making flesh powder. Second, it acts as a drying material. And the last one, the useful of the club moss in medicine. Flesh powder is a pyrotechnic composition. It is a mixture of oxidizer and metallic fuel which can burn quickly and produce loud noise. Therefore, it's suitable for making fireworks. The spores of the lycopodium is flammable because it contains high amount of oil which creates an explosion when combined with oxygen. Next, the club moss acts as a drying agent in the form of powder in surgical gloves. Lycopodium powder is derived from the spores of the Lycopodium clavatum, and it is the first powder used on natural rubber latex gloves. It acts as a lubricant to don surgical gloves to prevent sticking from each other. Therefore, it is the donning glove. But the usage has been discontinued as they can cause granulomas. The last one is the useful of club moss in medicine, but it only for Chinese club moss. It was used in treating the Alzheimer's disease and general memory disorder. Sometimes it used for fever, pain and swelling, blood loss, and irregular menstrual period. Chinese club moss contain a chemical called huperzine, which is helpful in treating memory problems. Huperzine increases the level of chemical called acetylcholine, which seems to help in the disease that interfere with memory and thinking, also in the muscle disease.
Human relevance of quillworts. Firstly, for medicine, quillworts plants of the genus Asyiqin contains flavonoid, which can act as anti-inflammatory. Not only that, it also has antioxidant properties. When compared to ferns and bryophytes, the antioxidant activities in Asyiqin sinensis were the strongest. Secondly, quillworts also is a French delicacy. They are plated in food serving, especially the young ones, because they accumulate salt. Next, people also scattered it over a fish or sauce seafood dish as additional flavor and green color. It's been called as the green beans from the sea. Next, for ecological importance of quillworts. Firstly, quillworts boost crop efficiency. Quillworts use chem photosynthesis to avoid competing to get water with other aquatic plants. Hence, it helps the plants to become more efficient at conserving water and better use of CO2, which is carbon dioxide. Quillworts also use as water indicator quality because they don't like to grow in water with poor quality. Quillworts also sensitive to changes in hydrology and water quality, especially when the nutrient run off. Example of quillworts that use as water indicator quality is Asyiqin acadiensis.